Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Wednesday, all of our guests today brought to you by our title sponsor, Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca, as we bring in TSN Scouting Director Craig Button. Craig, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Donnie, I'm in Toronto, and they're having summer-like conditions here today. It's like 27 degrees.
I know you may be trying to rub it in, but actually, unexpectedly, it's a very nice day today here in Vancouver. It's supposed to be pouring rain as always, but it's actually a nice day for a change.
You mean it's a warm rain, and I'm not trying to rub it
in. Okay. Hey, you spent a lot of your youth, if I'm not mistaken, in Montreal, all right? Not that you're still not a youth, but you did spend a lot of your youth in Montreal. So the Bruins beat the Capitals 5-2, 133 points, most points ever by a National Hockey League team in one season, snapping the record of 132 points set by the legendary 76-77 Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to guess you watch that team a lot. Who do you take? The 77, I know some people hate doing these comparisons, but I'm going there, Craig. Do you take those Habs from the mid-70s or today's Boston Bruins?
I think that the 1977 Montreal Canadiens is the best NHL team of all time. I know the Oilers of '85 were voted the best team, but I think the Canadiens of '77. This Bruins team, they haven't won the Stanley Cup yet. The 85 Oilers did, the 77 Canadiens did. So I think that has to be brought into context. One of the things, but my answer is Montreal. But, it's interesting because I'm hearing a lot, Montreal didn't have 3-on-3. They didn't have overtime or shootout opportunities. Yeah, but they had the Washington Capitals and the Kansas City Scouts to play against, who were terrible teams, right? And we've seen the parity in the league. So it's difficult to compare eras. With respect to, what was Montreal facing, not having the opportunity with shootouts or overtime and 3-on-3, whatever, the format was, and Boston having that opportunity. But, this Boston Bruins team, to me, is a complete team like the Canadiens of '77, and they can beat you in so many different ways. And I don't care what era you're in. 64 wins, which is now what the Bruins have won. 60 by the Montreal Canadiens, 62 by the Red Wings. These are pretty impressive numbers. It's hard enough to win 40 games in a season. We're talking about 60 plus. And so I think what the Bruins have accomplished this year in a league that has a lot of parity, I think it deserves to be recognized in a way that represents the historical significance of this accomplishment by the Bruins.
Craig, you're in Toronto, and I realize the game didn't take place there, but the Leafs beat Tampa Bay last night. And I don't know if he qualifies as a full-time player, a part-time player these days, but what do you think Luke Schenn did for the Leafs swagger last night?
Well, I mean, Luke's going to stand up to every single challenge that comes his team's way or his way, and that's what he's all about. I think what's interesting is, him and,
Patrick Maroon.
Patrick Maroon, I don't know why I went back there. I want to keep saying Killorn, and I know it wasn't Killorn. Sorry. So former teammates, they won together. And so it tells you a lot about Luke Schenn. Is that, we're going to be friends off the ice, and we'll be friends forever off the ice. But when I'm wearing a different colored jersey than you're wearing, you know what? There's no holds barred. And I think that Luke's competitive fire, his competitive spirit, has been there from the very first time I saw him play in the Western Hockey League. And that's what makes him somebody that you want on your team, and you want it when the games get hard and the games become challenging, because he's not going to take any prisoners. And he's got one objective right now, and that's to do everything he can to help the Toronto Maple Leafs win. So, what you see with Luke Schenn is exactly what I've seen since the time he was 16 years of age. And I don't think that'll change. He'll probably be playing somewhere in an alumni game somewhere, and somebody might draw the ire of Luke, because Luke is going to do whatever he thinks he has to do to help a team win, and you want those players on your team.
Craig, a big event here last night. Pettersson, 100th point. He's the second player from the 217 draft to do it. Jason Robertson of Dallas, who went 39th overall, Craig, in that draft, did it as well earlier this year. But Pettersson hitting the 100-point mark. How big is that for him, Craig? And where can he go from here?
Well, I mean, he's a superstar. I mean, I think we can put him in that category now. And, like how we put superstar, it's not just about points. It's about the presence that he has on the ice. There was a time not so long ago, and when I say not so long ago, last season, okay, has Pettersson stalled? Is this what we can expect? Well, I mean, he's answered that emphatically and with respect to his play. And, you look at how he controls a game, how he, impacts a game. I'm going to share this with you. I don't know if anybody else has shared it with you. I am pretty sure as I'm getting ready to finalize my awards ballot that Elias Pettersson is going to be in my top 5 for the Selke Trophy. So 100 points is pretty significant. The fact that now, he's put himself squarely in the Selke Trophy conversation, I think it speaks volumes about how his game has grown, how it's progressed, and how his impact is not just in the points he scores, but in an all-round strong two-way game where he can factor in everywhere, offensively, defensively, even strength power play, penalty killing. To me, he's got that flair as well, and that screams superstar.
Very good. One question I was going to ask you about, I was writing down some notes what you were saying, Craig. Very nice on the Selke thing. Over the weekend, Quinnipiac won the NCAA hockey title, right? Craig, 14 of those kids were from the BC Hockey League. And I know you got a tremendous amount of respect for the BC Hockey League. It's the best junior A circuit in the country by a mile. But just talk about the national champs and 14 of those kids from the BC Hockey League.
Well, you know what? I would say there's 3 parts of the BCHL, Rick. And number one, it's a really quality league with quality teams, and you got really good coaching, and certainly that's going to attract good players. And when you attract good players, you're gonna have good teams. But it's really run well. It's a really well run junior league. Number 2, if you want to go the NCAA route, it's a great opportunity to grow at your own pace and your own rate of maturity, and find your way. Education is an emphasis, and certainly the opportunity to not fall short on your education requirements. At the same time, having the hockey demands there that are high is really important. Number 3 is there's a lot of players that aren't quite ready for university, that have graduated high school, that need what I would call seasoning. And some of that seasoning is just about becoming a little bit more physically mature, going through another year of that maturation process so that you're ready for the rigors of the NCAA. And so the NCAA understands that the BCHL is going to help players in that regard. If you're going down that path and you're a young player, you have things in place, and it's just a really top-notch run league. So you put all those things together, it should come as no surprise that there's 14 players, or that NCAA rosters, successful NCAA rosters, are dotted with BCHL players, because they're coming from everywhere. They're not just coming from BC, they're coming from everywhere to come and play in a league that gives these kids the NCAA opportunity. And I think it's tremendous. I think it speaks volumes about how well the league is run, and how well the league is coached, and how well the players are developed. And every player is going to be different, but they're given that opportunity to grow at their own rates, and that's significant.
And a tip of the hat to our friend Chris Hebb, who's the commissioner of the BCHL. He's been on the show quite a bit. Okay, Craig, before we let you go, I saw you talk about this on TSN, but how would you compare Connor Bedard's junior career to the career of other hockey the junior careers of other hockey greats like Gretzky, like Lemieux, Sakic, the list goes on?
It does go on
McDavid.
and on. And, McDavid, Crosby. I mean, we can go on and on with some great junior careers. And, you just mentioned, Hall of Famers. So what I would say about Connor this year and what he did, and his season's completed now. His Western Hockey League career is completed. I said this the other day on TSN, Donnie, but for everybody tuning in, I haven't seen a junior season by a player this age since Wayne Gretzky in 77, 78. And people go, well, what about Lemieux? What about Crosby? What about McDavid? What about Lindros? All well and dandy, all good, all worthy. They're all dominant players in their league, just like Connor Bedard this year has been in the Western Hockey League. But the separator for me, and the reason I went and compared him to Wayne Gretzky, is because of what Connor Bedard did at the World Junior Tournament. At 17 years of age, the last player to dominate at that age or younger was Wayne Gretzky at the 1978 World Junior Tournament in Montreal, Donnie, and I was there for that. Yes. I was there. I watched Wayne Gretzky play on Christmas Day against Czechoslovakia. My dad took me down. We were sitting in the forum, so I saw it. McDavid, Crosby, Lemieux, none of them dominated the World Junior at the level that Connor Bedard did. I mean, there was nobody close to Connor Bedard at the World Junior Tournament. He was far and away the best player. So when I say that it's the best season since 77, 78, that's the context in which I compare it to. And, we start comparing them to McDavid and Crosby and Lindros and Lemieux, and I go all the way back to Gretzky. To me, that's the last time I've seen something like that in a young player's junior career, because his junior career is over. The next time he'll play in a game, I mean, he might play in the World Championships, but he'll play in the National Hockey League next season on Game 1.
Man, there's so much to talk about, Craig. We left some stuff on the table, but we're out of time. Fabulous as always, my friend. Thanks so much for this.
Yeah, well, we can pick up the stuff off the table that was left on the table next time.
Well, look, and you live in Calgary. We didn't even bring up the Flames and that debacle, so we'll talk about that next week.
Craig, you look good in purple.
You got it.
You look good in purple. You look really nice, really nice.
Yeah. How do you like this kind of aura of like a halo above my head?
Well, I didn't even notice, Craig. I didn't even notice because you always have an aura, a halo above you. So I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Craig.
Have a great day.
Appreciate it.